Before we see if your investments are on track, why don't you tell me about your retirement plans?
We're just gonna relax, kick back. Yeah. Stay at home, read the newspaper, go fishing, putt around the garden. Mostly, I'm just looking forward to spending every waking moment together. It's gonna be great, isn't it, Nancy?
Yes, dear.
You should.
Okay, so I'm not advocating that you off your spouse for retirement money, but one of the most common questions I usually get is this one shown in purple, like you guys had asked on the Padlet, which is, how do I save for retirement? Or what do we put all our money into? So we've been talking about all these different investment plan options, and now that your head is probably spinning with all those numbers and options, how do you choose which one? So this lesson is going to break down which one of those plans you should invest in and in what order.
Our suggestion is baby step 1 is $1,000 in the bank. Baby step 2 is the debt snowball. Baby step 3 is a fully funded emergency fund. Then we get to baby step 4, and baby step 4 is 15% of your income going into retirement under all these different things we've been talking about. So it's kind of dizzy right now. Are you dizzy? I know this stuff, and teaching it, I'm a little dizzy right now. It's just, I feel like I'm chasing my tail up here. There's enough numbers and letters and stuff. It's a barrel of fish hooks. So let's just boil this thing down a little bit and figure out what we're going to do. Very, very, very carefully. If you make $100,000 a year, what's 15% of your income? $15,000. And so kind of get that types of figures in your head with your whole household income. And I want to put 15% in.
Okay, so the very first thing when we try to determine how to save for retirement is figuring out what 15% is. So figuring out baby step 4. So to find that 15%, you're going to take your annual income and you're going to multiply it by 15%, or 0.15 if it's the decimal. So we're going to practice this using these little thermometers. In Dave's example, he said the income was $100,000. So if I take $100,000 and I multiply it by 0.15, that comes out to be $15,000. So our goal here is to fill up the thermometer using each one of these little steps, and each one of these little steps added together should equal $15,000. So we're going to break those steps down and fill up our thermometer as we go.
Now the first place I would put 15% is in my 401k at my company or my 403b at my company if there's a match up to the match. How many of you have a match at your work? Good. The rest of you, forget I said that. Well, you're going to just move on to step 2 in a minute. But those of you that had a match, raise your hand again. Yell out to me what some of the matches are. 3%, 6%, 4%, 6%. There you go. 4.5%. Okay. I'm hearing lots of 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, that kind of thing. Lots and lots of companies. By the way, about 75%, 76% of the companies do some kind of a match. The most popular match is about 3%. That's a pretty standard thing. That's what we do at our company right now. We do a 3% match with people in our 401k. So the 3% match would work like this then. The first 3% that you put in, if you put in $1,000 into the 401k, your company adds $1,000 before anything happens. That's a good rate of return. You just made 100% on your money before we started. That works, doesn't it? Say yes. Okay, so you always take the match. So if you've got a 3% match, let's say you make $100,000 a year, so this is real simple. 3% would be $3,000. But we're trying to get to 15, right? But we're certainly going to do that 3 because that 3 is really good with a 100% rate of return. Then we're going to move to the next step. And the next step is you do the Roth IRA.
And remember, we like the Roth IRA first because it grows tax-free. So notice the first 2 steps use the word free. We like free money. Let's do it. So if we head back to our example, we need to look up the max contributions for a Roth and continue adding that on to our thermometer. In this example, let's pretend we're single. The max contribution in 2020 for a single person is $6,000. So we'll add that $6,000 onto our thermometer. If we were married, we could fill in the next little chunk of another $6,000, but in this case, we're not, so we'll just go with another 0 here.
I've still not gotten up to baby step 4, which is 15% of my income. You see how I'm doing this? I'm working my way up, wisdom upon wisdom upon wisdom. So now I've got match and I got tax-free. Well, all you got left now is go back to your 401k and put in another $2,000. So we're going to do matching, Roths, non-matching, until we get to 15%. Wherever along there you get to 15% of your household income, stop. Don't save 28% of your income, because we got some other stuff to do with this in these other baby steps for a little while. When we get some stuff cleaned up, we'll come back and load up everything. So for now, though, I'm going to give you a good healthy start with some muscle at 15%.
So right now, when I add up my first 3 boxes, I'm only at $9,000. That's not to my goal of $15,000. So Dave says the last thing we do is drop the remainder into whatever plan you have. It could be a 401k, it could be 403b, 457, SEP, IRA, whatever it is, the remaining amount to fill up the rest of your thermometer, you drop in there. So I'm going to take 3,000 plus 6,000, that's 9,000. And the remaining amount to get to 15,000 is another 6,000. And so if I add all of those boxes together, I get $15,000, and that's my goal, and I'm done. Now remember, I don't actually walk away with $15,000. I walk away with more money because I have this match down here. So whatever your match is, you add that on to your 15% goal, because that's free money you get. So I add on $3,000 to $15,000. I actually walk away with $18,000 in this example. If I had no match, I would just have $15,000. But whatever your match is, you get to add that on to your 15% goal.